The list of essential services is starting to get a little weird.
Little muddy. 500 workers walk out of ASOS factory after company fails to enforce social distancing. So this company, they've got a factory. If you look at, here's the picture of the cubicles and everybody in the factory. And this company did not follow the social distancing guidelines, which means they didn't implement anything. They're saying, just similar to that pastor that went to jail, they're saying, hey, you know what? We're above the law. We don't have to do anything about this. And their workers decided to say, you know what? We're going to leave because you're putting us in danger. And that's something that you're going to have consequences. The pastor went to jail. This business had workers just walk out. And then talk about morale, about future and coming back to work. Right. I mean, I don't know.
Do you think this is going to be the kind of deal where this company is just trying to stay afloat? They're like, no, we're not necessarily going to enforce these yet. We don't have any cases in our workforce. So we're going to see if this ends up actually getting any worse, but we need to stay afloat in this hard time. And then people are like, no. And they leave. And then they're going to be bitter about it and not come back to work?
Well, it's a union walkout. You go here, ASOS needs to put the people before profits and make sure workers are the right distance apart and paid properly if they need to take time off. Then ASOS denied the union's claims, its bosses insisting they were striking the right balance between keeping the warehouse open for the good of employees and the economy and maintaining the health and safety to staff. Now, here's the deal. There are certain businesses like CPA offices and certain media outlets that are required to stay open because they're an essential service. Making clothes is not an essential service unless they're going to start making face masks and they're going to start doing the things that are essential to this problem. However, it doesn't sound like they were doing that. They were ignoring the social distancing guidelines. They weren't a necessary service, and they've just decided to say, hey, we're going to make you guys stay here. And that's the part where the union got involved and said, nope, we're leaving. And they walked out.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because the list of essential services is starting to get a little weird.
Little muddy.
Like weed stores.
Hey, you got to stay calm in times of anxiety.
Let me tell you right now, if those were open,
there would be problems.
It would fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
There would be major problems.
Yep.
And I mean, not only that, it's like this whole idea of Planned Parenthood and they still got to stay open because they're an essential business. I mean, believe what you want to believe. I'm for the right to do something. I'm against the loss of life needlessly. Yeah. Right. But how can you say that is an essential business? What service do they provide that is necessary by all people living in the country?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the other thing about that Planned Parenthood being an essential business. Unless they're treating people with coronavirus symptoms, they are not an essential business. That's right. Insane. And especially with what Planned Parenthood stands for, and I am very much against that. Right. There is a big gleaming, we're exposing something that says, why is this considered this shouldn't be essential? I think it's morally wrong. I think it's completely morally wrong. Right. And therefore I think, again, it goes back to it's exposing things.
I think that's common sense. I think that's common sense to say, you know what? It doesn't need to be open. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you believing it's morally wrong and saying that it doesn't need to be open isn't necessarily you saying that somebody that believes the opposite of you is a bad person or is wrong or is it's not necessarily that. You have a disagreement, and because of your disagreement, because of your stance on the issue, right, you have this outlook on this place. I think that it should not be open. Yeah. Right. Because what services are they providing to people that need it right now?
Correct.
Other than people that want to get rid of a baby.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? What services are they providing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
If somebody wants to get rid of a baby, they're going to say that that's an essential service.
Yep.
Right.
That's what they're trying to. And it's politicizing it. I mean, it's a big problem. But just the idea that there are businesses that are completely ignoring it, and which people are completely ignoring it, which is why it's still continuing the way that it's going. The stay-at-home order, like Florida just had to lock down. I was supposed to interview with a buddy, Mike, on this morning on. his channel, but he had to cancel because Florida's new stay-at-home orders. He had to go out and get supplies and stuff, so we couldn't do it. But a lot of these states are a little bit behind in these orders. Like, well, David and Megan being in Oklahoma, they aren't necessarily on strict stay-at-home yet, but there's less than 100 cases in the state, period. So there's some reality to that.
But Ethan Wilson, who does live out there, he was on a stay-at-home order. Everything shut down about a week ago.
Yeah, city-wise, yes. State-wise, no. Whereas like California is statewide, New York is statewide, everything. Florida now statewide, Texas I think is statewide. So it's going to be nationwide. That's the thing. And the thing that I was looking at last night, just all the stats of what's going on, and the thing, we don't have it here in the story, and maybe we'll talk about it next week as we get more information, but China is totally lying. You look at the big thing that I see is the amount of cases and deaths versus population. So we have I'm going to get into it just for a second. So we have over 48,000 confirmed cases in the country, in the United States. There are over 5,000 deaths, and our population is 330 million. China had we're not 47. We have over 200,000 confirmed cases, 5,000 deaths. China is only reporting 82,000 cases and like 3,000 deaths. Their population is 1.4 billion. Those numbers don't make sense.
With a B.
Billion with a B.
Because communists lie.
Absolutely. And I think that's like, it's going to be weird because, I mean, you look at Italy, you look at Spain, you look at all these places that have had this this exponential spike in cases, and the death rate is still low in terms of like what it is. But like the death rates per million in Italy and Spain are over 200 per million, where we're at 15, and China's reporting like 3 per million people of population?
No way. No way.
Totally wrong. So we'll talk about that another time, but there are people are doing things, they're ignoring it, they're not seeing the severity of it. We're going to know more as this goes on, but there are people that are ignoring it and they're getting hammered. And then there's people that are just like, they're at the mercy of this virus and what's going on. Thanks for checking out the Trending Stories Taking Over show. If you like that video, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you know whenever we have a new video, and you're aware of any of the live streams when we do a full show. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Go to TSTOshow.com, check it out, or watch one of these other videos over here. You're gonna like it. I have a feeling you're gonna love it.